Hi everyone, welcome back to another video lesson in Mathematics Grade 10, and today we'll be talking about coordinate geometry, specifically on distance formula and midpoint formula. So let's start. If we say coordinate geometry or analytic geometry, it is the study of geometric figures by using algebra. Dito na nag-fuse yung geometry and algebra together. So, using coordinate geometry, it is possible to find the distance between 2 points, which we are going to discuss it later on. Dividing lines into m is to n ratio. Find the midpoint of a line. I-discuss din natin yan later on. And calculating the area of a triangle in the Cartesian plane, and so on. The first systematic presentation of coordinate geometry was given by the French mathematician René Descartes in 1637 in his book La Géométrie. So who is René Descartes? So René Descartes is a French mathematician, philosopher, credited with the invention of the rectangular coordinate system, or often referred to as the Cartesian coordinate system. And he is famous on his lines, I think, therefore I am. Now, let us discuss distance formula. If we are finding the distance between any 2 points on a Cartesian plane, horizontal or vertical, or in any position, then we are finding the length of the segment determined by these points. So let us consider a point in a Cartesian plane. So let's consider this our Cartesian plane. This is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. And this point here, let's name it as point A with coordinates x of 1, y of 1. And another point in here, let's name this as point B with coordinates x of 2, y of 2. And if we find the distance between these 2 points, let's draw a segment. The distance of A and B is the same as the length of the segment AB. No? Before we go on further and the length, or before we proceed to the length of AB, let us recall on finding the distance between 2 points and in a number line. So let us consider a number line here. Let's have it at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's have this as point M and another point here. Let's name it as point N. Then the distance of MN is equal to the absolute value of 4 minus 1, which is equal to the absolute value of 3, which is equal to 3. Recall that if we find the length, it is always positive. There is no negative length. Now, going back to the distance between 2 points, point A and B, let's draw a horizontal line through A and a vertical line through B. And let's consider the point of intersection of these 2 lines here, the horizontal line and vertical line, be point C with coordinates x of 2, y of 1. Why is it that it is x of 2, y of 1? Since this is a vertical line, then the x coordinate of C and point B are the same, which is x of 2. And since point A and point B are along the this horizontal line, then the coordinates of point A and point B, y coordinates will be y sub 1. Notice that we form a right triangle out of the segment formed by point AB, the horizontal line, and the vertical line. So it is a right triangle. since we are looking for the length of AB and it is the hypotenuse of the right triangle, let's name it as C. This is A and this is B. The two legs are A and B. Then the length of the square of the length of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of its two legs. And this is the Pythagorean theorem. And if we find the length of AB, which is equal to the distance, length of AC, that is AC, which is you subtract the length of AC is by applying yung finding the distance between 2 points in a number line. So since they have the same y coordinates, you subtract their x coordinates. So this is x of 1. So x of 2 minus x of 1. The quantity squared. Plus, take note, this is your y sub 2. So to get the distance between point B and point C, then that is the same as y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. Finding the length of AB, that is equal to the square root by extracting the square root of both sides, then that is equal to the square root of x of 2 minus x of 1 squared, the quantity squared, plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1, the quantity squared. Now, if you notice, we consider only the positive square roots of AB since we are looking for the distance. So the distance formula is if A with coordinates x of 1, y sub 1, and point B with coordinates x of 2, y sub 2 are any 2 points on the coordinate plane, then the length of AB is equal to the square root of x of 2 minus x of 1, the quantity squared, plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1, the quantity squared. Let's have an example. Find the distance of point A with coordinates 1, 3 and point B with coordinates 7, 11. So we consider the coordinates of A be x of 1, y sub 1, and the coordinates of B be x of 2, y sub 2. So AB then is equal to the square root of, so x of 2, that is 7 minus 1, the quantity squared, plus 11 minus 3, the quantity squared. We simplify. That is the square root of 6. 7 minus 1 is 6 squared plus 8 squared. We simplify further. So that is 36, the square root of 36 plus 64. So we add yung nasa radicand. So we have the square root of 100, and the square root of 100 is 10. So the length of AB is 10 units. Okay? Now let's proceed to example number 2. In example number 2, we are going to find the length of MN. The coordinates of M are negative 2, 5. So this will be your x of 1, y sub 1. And the coordinates of N are x of 2, y sub 2. So your Mn then is equal to the square root of 6 minus negative 2. So 6 minus negative 2, the quantity squared, plus 1 minus 5, the quantity squared. So that is now the square root of, now 6 minus negative 2 is the same as 6 plus 2. So that is now 8 squared, plus 1 minus 5, that is negative 4 squared. So that is the square root of 64 plus 16, which is equal to the square root of 80. Now, 80 is not a perfect square, so we think of a factor of 60, which is the largest perfect square, and that is equal to 16, right? What are we going to multiply to 16 to make it 80? So that will be 5. So square root of 16 times 5, we can write it as square root of 16 times square root of 5. So that is equal to 4 the square root of 5 units. That is now the answer. So let's proceed to example number 3. Find the perimeter of the triangle whose vertices are A with coordinates 5, 7. So we're going to plot that one. 5, 7. So this is point A with coordinates 5, 7. Point B with coordinates 1, 10. So 1, 10. This is your point B. 1, 10. And C, the coordinates are negative 3, negative 8. Okay. So we are going to find the perimeter of that triangle ABC. And if we say perimeter, let's name it as P, that is getting the sum of the lengths of the sides of the triangle, which is AB plus BC plus CA or AC. So we apply again our distance formula. So let's find first, find AB. Take note, the coordinates of A are 5, 7, and coordinates of B are 1, 10. So we consider this as your x of 1, y's of 1, x of 2, y's of 2. So AB is equal to the square root of, that is 1 minus 5 squared, plus, that is 10 minus 7 squared. So that is equal to the square root of negative 4 squared plus 3 squared. So that is equal to the square root of 16 plus 9. And the square root of 16 plus 9, that is square root of 25. Simplifying, getting the square root of 25, that is equal to 5. So the length of AB is 5 units. After that, let's find BC. Find BC. Take note, the coordinates of B are 1, 10, and C, negative 3, are negative 3, negative 8. So this will be your x of 1, y's of 1, x of 2, y's of 2. So BC is equal to the square root of negative 3 minus 1 squared plus negative 8 minus 10 squared. So we simplify. Yung nasa radicand, that is negative 4 squared plus negative 18 squared. So that is equal to the square root of 16 plus 18 squared, negative 18, the quantity squared, is equal to 324. So that is square root of 324 plus 16, that is equal to 340. Now, 340 is not a perfect square, so we factor 340, wherein one factor is a largest perfect square, and that is equal to 4. One factor is equal to 4. And 4 times 85, that is equal to 340. So we separate that one. So square root of 4 times square root of 85. So square root of 4, that is 2, the square root of 85. We can no longer simplify. So we are done finding BC, and BC is equal to 2 the square root of 85. Now let's proceed to CA. So let's find CA. Take note that C to -3, -8, and A that is 5, 7. So CA is equal to the square root of 5 minus -3 squared plus 7 minus -8, the quantity squared. So that is now equal to the square root of 5 minus -3, that is 8 squared, plus 7 minus -8, that is 15 squared. So 15 squared. So square root of 64 plus 15 squared, 225. So 64 plus 225, that is 2 square root of 289. Since 289 is a perfect square, then square root of 289 is 17. So CA is 17. So that is equal to 17. Therefore, we can now conclude, therefore, the perimeter of triangle ABC is, that is 5 plus 2 the square root of 85 plus 17, which is equal to 22 plus 2 the square root of 85 units. So we are done. That's how we find yung distance between 2 points. And in number 3, we find the perimeter of the triangle ABCD. Now, if the question is round off to 2 decimal places, or round off to 2 decimal places, then we can write it. We can write the perimeter 22 plus 2 the square root of 5 as 40.44 units. Okay, we are done. Now let's proceed to midpoint formula. Ano ba yung midpoint? So the midpoint of a line segment is the point on the segment that is equidistant from both endpoints. So if we consider this point A and point B, then this point in here, let's name it as point M, is the midpoint of AB. So the x-coordinate of the midpoint is the sum of the x-coordinates of the two endpoints divided by 2. And the y-coordinate of the midpoint is the sum of the coordinates of the two endpoints, y sub 1 plus y sub 2 divided by 2. That's how we find the midpoint of 2 points. Let's have an example. Find the coordinates of the midpoint M of the segment whose endpoints are, let's have point A. So the midpoint of that one, take note, to get the x-coordinate of the midpoint, that is equal to -7 plus -5, divide it by 2. -7 plus -5, that is -12 divided by 2, which is -6. So that will be -6. And then the y-coordinate is 6 plus -1 over 2. So that is 5 over 2. Okay, that will be the midpoint of number 1. How about number 2? What are the coordinates of the midpoint? So just add 5 plus 9, that is 14 divided by 2, 7. 11 plus 5, 16 divided by 2, 8. Very good. Now, how about number 3? Just add -3 plus -7, that is -10 divided by 2, -5. 10 plus -3, that is 7 divided by 2, 7 over 2. So we are done. That's very easy. That ends our lecture on distance formula and midpoint formula. So see you again in our next episode on coordinate proof. Goodbye, everyone.